Hey guys, there's a new credit card on the market, the X1 credit card, available at x1creditcard.com. And I say this credit card is available, but realistically it's not. It's coming out in the winter of 2020, so if you go to the website, currently it is only a wait list. So since this card is not officially released yet, everything is technically subject to change. They can claim to offer a lot of different features and benefits, but until the product actually rolls out and we have concrete proof for sure of how the credit card is going to work, then realistically we don't know. We're sort of taking best guesses at some of these topics. Now, one of the first questions when it comes to a waitlist credit card that's not officially released yet is this credit card actually ever going to get released, or is it just sort of a gimmick? And while we can never be sure if it's going to get released or not, the people behind this credit card are some pretty high-profile people. We've got former CEOs and COOs of places like PayPal, Twitter, Instagram, etc. So there's some pretty high-level names attached to this product. So I would be willing to bet that eventually that this card is actually going to come to market. It's just a matter of, are some of these features or the payout scales, etc., going to be tweaked a little bit one way or the other? Now, with new credit cards, one of the first things that people typically ask about is the reward system. And yes, it does earn you some points. In fact, it'll earn you 2 points for every dollar that you spend, which puts it just on par with other 2% cashback credit cards like the Citi Double Cash. And then you can earn 3x points if you spend over $15,000 a year, or 4x points if you refer a friend. You'll get that boost for 4x for 1 month. Now, I'm actually going to circle back to these points here at the end of the video because realistically, I think almost everyone can, with about 5 or 10 minutes worth of work, turn this into a permanent 3% cashback credit card, which then obviously would replace the 2% options like the Citi Double Cash, the PayPal MasterCard, and the Fidelity card. So real quick, let's go into some of the other features and then we'll circle back to the payout system of how you can get 3% cash back on everything. So I think this credit card is really geared towards young working professionals. They're some of the ones that created the Thrive Cash app, which lends money out to people that have apprenticeships or something like that right after college. So I think they're trying to go after the younger crowd. And I think one of the ways that they're targeting this new young professional demographic is they're actually not basing your approval for this credit card on your credit score, which is a little bit odd because literally every other credit card on the market, at least that I'm aware of, is basing your approval on your credit score. Instead, it sounds like the X1 credit card is only going to do a soft pull on your credit report. So it's not even going to be a hard inquiry from the sounds of it. And the way that they're basing their approval is not on your credit score, like I said, but on your income. And not just your current income, but your potential future income as well. So even if you're somebody that's never had a credit card in their entire life, or maybe you have had credit cards and you messed up your credit score, as long as you have a somewhat decent paying job, there's a pretty good chance that you're going to get approved for this credit card. And not only is there a pretty good chance that you're going to get approved for this credit card, but their website boasts that you might be able to get up to 5 times the amount of credit limit that some other cards are going to offer. And that's a big deal because your credit limit is going to directly impact your credit utilization rate, which is one of the biggest categories that credit score companies use to determine your credit score. So the higher your limits on your credit card, the better. And that's pretty cool because high credit limit cards are typically pretty hard to get when you're first starting out, if this is your first credit card or something like that. I remember back in the day when I got my first credit card, my credit limit was only $500. So having a high credit limit, especially as your first card, is going to significantly help you build and establish your credit score. Now, like most things with this credit card, we don't have exact details of how they're going to be calculating what your credit limit is going to be. Obviously, it's probably going to be based on your income levels at some point. But if we scroll all the way down to the bottom of their webpage and we look at the fine print, you're going to see that they're basing some of this statistics on what Generation Z credit cards typically have for a credit limit. So here they can see that, the average Gen Z user has about a $4,400 credit limit on their credit cards. So if we assume that's normal, and if we assume that this credit card is going to give you 5x what normal is, we might be looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 to 25,000, possibly for an upper end for the initial credit limit for this credit card. And that's pretty amazing. I've been in the credit industry for quite a while, and as far as personal credit cards, the non-business credit cards go, that would be pretty fantastic. I think the highest credit limit card that I have is only about $29,000, and I've been doing this for a while, so if we're able to get something at least in the, possibly teens all the way up to the 20s, that could be game-changing for people that are just trying to start out with their credit journey. And then this credit card offers some pretty nice features that you would expect from a fintech company, a financial technology company. They've got some of the bells and whistles features that you just kind of expect from these kind of places. So one of those features is the ability to use a virtual credit card number. And what that is essentially, if you're going to go online and you don't want to use your real credit card number, maybe for security purposes or something like that, you can actually create a one-time virtual credit card number and check out and pay with that. And one of the reasons why that can be so beneficial is that you can set the expiration date on this virtual credit card to whatever day that you want. And that can be very handy, especially when it comes to those trial subscription models. You know the ones I'm talking about. Get 90 days of Netflix for free or something like that. But when you sign up for that trial, you have to put in your credit card number. And then once that 90 days expires, they're automatically going to start charging your credit card. And realistically, we sign up for a lot of those trials and then we forget about them, so we get billed maybe a month or two worth of actual subscription before we actually go in and cancel that subscription service. So with these virtual credit cards, you could just set this credit card to expire on day 90. So you get your full 90 days of trial, and then they try to bill you that first billing cycle, and the virtual credit card is expired. So they're just out of luck and you don't have to pay anything. And another feature when it comes to the subscription services, somebody really must have hated subscriptions who designed this credit card, is that if you do have a recurring subscription based on this particular credit card, you can cancel that subscription directly from your credit card app. You don't even have to log into Netflix or whatever subscription service that you had and cancel it from there. You can cancel your subscriptions directly through the X1 credit card app. And I think that's pretty cool. And it's also got a few other minor features, such as the ability to get instant notifications on any kind of refunds, and the ability to upload and attach receipts to your credit card purchases. And that can be pretty nice, I guess, if you have a small business or a side hustle or something like that. That way you don't have to manually keep track of receipts. You can all just upload this and attach it to your credit card for future use. All right, so let's get back to the points and the reward systems, because ultimately that's what a lot of people are after. So you're going to get a flat 2x points on everything that you purchase. So like I said, this is going to be very similar to something like a Citi Double Cash card. Now these points are worth at minimum 1 cent per point. Now we don't know if there's going to be any transfer partners or anything like that where you might be able to get some outsized value. More to come on that when this card is actually released. But you are able to use these points directly through the app to pay for prior purchases, and then it looks like they are partnered with a few dozen different companies as of current, where you can spend these points for future purchases as well. Now if you'll notice on this list, you'll see 3 different airlines. You've got Delta, JetBlue, and Alaska Airlines. I don't know if you're going to be able to redeem these points through some sort of a portal, or if they're going to be transfer partners where you can redeem your X1 credit card points for Delta, Air Miles, etc. Once again, we don't know the exact details because the card has not been released yet. But if it's a true transfer partner, that could be pretty amazing and get you some truly outsized value. But if travel isn't your thing, there's a lot of good options out there for other folks. So you'll see places like Apple, Nike, Bose, Airbnb, PlayStation, and Xbox. So realistically, there's going to be some decent places for you to redeem these points to. Now, circling back to why I think that this card is going to be a universal 3% cashback credit card for the overwhelming majority of people. So you're going to get 2% up to $15,000 worth of spend. And then once you hit $15,000 of spend, you're now going to get 3x points. Now, if their website is any indication, this is actually backdating your previous purchases. So essentially what I would assume that they would do is give you a one-time bonus of 15,000 points, bringing your total up to this 45,000 marker. And then from there on, you're just going to get 3x points for the rest of the year. And this is opposed to the other way they could have done it, which it doesn't look like they're doing it, where the first $15,000 of spend is 2x points, and then anything after is 3x points. It looks like they're actually backdating it and giving you credit for that first 15,000 as well. So once you hit that limit, it's basically 15,000 for the entirety of it. And that's a big deal because that basically means that any previous purchases are going to also get this extra 1%. Now, I have watched a few other YouTube videos about this particular credit card to see what other people are talking about. And I haven't seen anyone mention this particular technique on any of these previous credit videos, which is really surprising to me because I know people in the credit card industry, the credit card business, we like to kind of game the system and come up with creative ways to get the most bang for our buck from our credit card. So I'm surprised that some of these bigger YouTubers didn't already explain this next process of how you could realistically just get a permanent 3x on all of your points. So anyone that's done any manufactured spending in the past, you're very familiar with a company called Plastic, spelled P-L-A-S-T-I-Q. Now basically what this company is going to allow you to do is it's going to allow you to pay bills via credit card that are not normally able to be paid with a credit card, like your rent or your student loans or your utilities, etc. Normally you can't pay those items with a credit card, but with this Plastic company, you can. Now the way it works is you essentially sign up with this Plastic company and you tell them what bills you want to have paid, and they are essentially going to charge you a 2.85% fee on top of whatever the actual charge is. So for example, if you wanted to pay your rent with a credit card and your rent for the month was $1,500, they would charge you 2.85% of that $1,500. So they would charge you about $42.75 in order to have the privilege and the ability to pay your rent with a credit card. Now, typically this method is really only used in manufactured spending to get to that initial sign-up bonus on new credit cards if you're not able to meet that sign-up bonus with your normal everyday spending. Because typically you're not going to get 2.85% worth of credit card rewards to justify going this extra step and using this Plastic company. But if you're getting charged 2.85%, but you're earning 3%, then it suddenly makes sense. You're actually profiting and making money. So for example, if your rent was $1,500, you would be able to actually profit $2.25 off of this transaction. The Plastic company would charge you $42.75, but you would actually earn $45 in credit card rewards. So you get a spread of $2.25. So right off the bat, you're already making a little bit of money by this arbitrage where you're earning 3%, but you're only getting charged 2.85%. Now, $2.50 times 12 months out of the year, you're really only looking at about, $25, $26 for the year. But you've got $1,500 a month in spend now, which comes out to $18,000 for the year just by putting your rent on this credit card. So right there, you've already met the minimum $15,000 spend for the year. So all of your purchases now are going to be at this higher 3x point category. Now, unfortunately, this credit card is a Visa signature card, So while you can pay your rent with plastic, unfortunately you can't pay your mortgage. They have some weird rules. So some credit cards you can pay your mortgage and some you can't. So with a Visa, if you own your home and you're paying a mortgage, well, you're out of luck. But if you're renting, you can put your rent on this credit card. Maybe you don't rent, maybe you own a home, or maybe you're still living with friends or family or something like that, so you're not really getting charged rent. But maybe you have a car payment or utilities or your government taxes, student loans, etc. Pretty much anything you can possibly think of can be paid via plastic company, and then that's going to get you one step closer to hitting that $15,000 annual spend. Now, this plastic process only takes about 5 or 10 minutes to really get set up. If you're interested, I've got links down below in the description box. So I think with this method, most people can realistically hit that $15,000 in minimum spending very, very easily by putting on your rent, your car payments, your insurance, your student loans, etc. All of that stuff can be paid with plastic, and that's going to get you a very, very long ways towards that $15,000 minimum spend. Now, this card also does have a 4X category. If you refer a friend and they get this credit card, then for the next month you will be earning at 4X points as opposed to either the 2 or the 3X that you were previously earning. Now, as far as credit card referrals go, getting an extra 1 or 2% for 30 days is really not that good unless you are spending a ton of money on your credit card every month. So for most people, the referral is not going to be very good, but it's something. It's better than nothing if you know somebody that is also interested in getting this credit card. So that's going to wrap it up for us today, folks. I'm really excited about this credit card coming out. Looks like it's going to have some really high credit limits and be easily available to people that don't have really great credit. And I think it's going to be pretty much a flat 3X cashback card for most everybody, since it's so easy to set up this plastic system to earn a little bit of money in cashback by doing that arbitrage, 3% versus 2.85, as well as then just being a flat 3% on everything after that. If you found this video useful, be sure to subscribe, leave a comment down below, give the video a thumbs up. It really helps the YouTube algorithm. And as always, I'll see you all again next time.